I'm Micah Robinson. This is Crafted in Florida. I just made a whole bunch of these. Getting shipped out to a customer. By the way, if you want some of these, craftedinflorida.com. I can build these and ship them to your house so that you can have some nice honeycomb style shelving. But with a lot of cuts like this comes a lot of scrap. So, since I've got a whole bunch of scraps of walnut, the plan is I'm going to turn it into an end-grain cutting board. Let me show you how to do it. Here's the general idea of how I'm going to mock this up. I was thinking about running a piece of maple through the middle. Just going to divide it. Not necessarily set on that yet, but it's going to be roughly 20 by 12. Good size for a cutting board. And the end grain to make it look really nice and give it a little bit of more durability when it comes to all the cutting and things like that. So, first step, we're going to glue these two sections up separately. Alright, and then we will trim them nice and straight, smooth. Then we can glue all that together to keep the process moving. So, first step, clamp and a lot of glue.
Alright, so we're going to get these clamps put together. One thing I like to do whenever I'm gluing a ton of pieces like this up is obviously lay them all out so it's easier to put the glue on them, but flipping them in the same direction so that it's easy to just flip them back. Now it's not a huge deal on a piece like this because most of the pieces are all the same anyways, but if you want to make sure you have a top and a bottom, this really helps. And then I like to make sure it's as straight as possible. When you're doing that glue up, tighten up, don't over tighten it or else you'll get a little bit of bow in the middle. So again, flip them all in the same direction, line them up, lay on that glue, spread that glue out, flip them back and clamp them up. Tighten them on there, and there we go. So, onto this little semi-sketchy cut right here. I posted this on TikTok and Instagram, and I got a couple of comments. People wondering, isn't it just the same as the fence if you're using that board? The difference is that straight board is giving me a straight edge for the cutting board piece, right? And it slides with the cutting board, extending the fence. So it is giving me a straight edge by running it straight across the saw blade. Once I have a straight edge, I can flip it over and cut it straight on both sides. This makes the glue up 100% easier. And then you see I am going to go with that maple kind of racing stripe. This is an old piece of maple that I had cut for a door. Didn't need any more, and so I'm just going to trim off that part where I had the mortise and throw it right in the middle there. And I left it a little bit proud because all these pieces are not flat, and so I know I'm going to have to flatten all this out. But we'll get it all glued up first. So glue goes on both sides, and back into the clamps it will go. Working by myself, I listen to a ton of podcasts because you can only listen to so much music these days. Even with Spotify, it just gives you the same songs over and over again. So if you got a podcast recommendation, leave it in the comments. I'm starting to run out of different podcasts to listen to. Here you see I am CA gluing that down. because I need to flatten the whole thing. And if I were to put any clamps on it, I'd have problems. So I gave a little CA glue to that piece of MDF scrap that I have on there, and then I clamp that MDF down. This part right here, I am filling the couple little bit of gaps that I had. Now that I've flattened it out, there were a little bit of space in between some of those pieces. So just a little bit of glue and some walnut sawdust helps fill all those gaps in. Then sand it out. See, there's a couple spots that kind of revealed themselves after all that I still needed to fill. So just little spots of glue. Sanding will keep the sawdust all in there, and it'll fill all those holes for you. Here I am cutting the groove, kind of like the little drip tray area. And so I mocked up this little kind of jig just in order to keep my router on a straight line. I know that they have pieces, I just don't have those pieces for my router. So I created a little piece where I knew it would be the correct distance away, clamped it all down, realized I needed to secure the jig itself, and then just routed my edges. This gives me a nice drip tray with a bowl bit. It's curved all the way around, kind of gives me that nice little groove in there, and then it's time for finish. Now, it's a cutting board, so we can't just throw any finish on there. I like to use mineral oil. It gives me a nice protection and really makes that walnut pop. Man, that little piece of maple right down the middle, primo, man, primo. You gotta love that. So mineral oil is food safe, so you don't have to worry about it getting, any chemicals on your food when you're cutting it. Just make sure you get it in that drip tray, put it in there, and then wipe off the excess. Turned out pretty nice. Man, you gotta love putting finish on walnut. I tell you, walnut, I feel like that's why all these YouTubers like it. It's because it pops when you put that finish on, man. I don't blame them. On TV, it looks great.
Alright, so there you have it. Ingrain cutting board. A fantastic way to use some scraps that you have, especially if they're relatively all the same size, and it saves you a ton of time. But it's a simple process. Put them together, flatten them out a little bit, glue them up, flatten that slab, cut them how you want, set up your design, do another glue up, and then it's all about smoothing everything out. That little drip tray is a great little touch, something a little extra. And then, you can play with the design however you want. But it's a good way to use scraps. You could turn those scraps into money by putting this online, selling it, or if you just need a cutting board at your house, great way to use some scraps. Mineral oil is what I use to put that on there, that finish. It's a great food safe oil, something that you're going to want to make sure that you get. Don't put a polyurethane on there and then go cut your vegetables on it. That's not what you want to do. So mineral oil or a beeswax type of finish is what you want to use on your cutting boards. So, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned something. If you did, hit a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Crafting.